Assertive communication is where you are neither passive nor aggressive. That means you don't just keep your opinions to yourself. You don't say, okay, whatever you say is right. I have nothing to add to this. That is passive. You accept what others are saying. But aggressive is something where you say, only I am right. Whatever I say, you have to listen to. I cannot listen to anything which you say. Or whenever somebody says something, you cut it off and say, no, it's not like that. No, don't say this. That is aggressive. So between these two, passive, where you have nothing to say, you don't know how to say it, and nobody gives you a chance to say it, and aggressive, when you say too much, but people get irritated because they really don't want to always hear what you say. They want there to be a democratic sharing of ideas. Now, when you want to speak English well, when you want to impress others with your English, when you want your English to reach that level that you can use it for anything and everything, there assertive communication is important. That is why in this video I'm going to tell you 4 important points: how it is used, what it shows about you when you use assertive communication, and also the advantages of it and the way in which you should practice. If you watch till the end of the video, you will get all the ideas which I want to share with you. All the tips, 4 tips clearly identified. And then you can start analyzing yourself to see whether your communication is assertive or not. Because to be a successful communicator, you have to have assertive communication. Here is tip number 1. Assertive communication, how to use it, and what are the ways in which it can be used. Very important in assertive communication is that whatever you want to say, you can say it directly. Instead of trying to hide what you want to say, you can say it directly. If somebody says, I want to meet you this evening, you need not say, I will think about it, or I will let you know, or maybe we can meet. All these are not the ways in which you should say. You say, this evening I have no time, so could we meet some other time? You give directly whatever you want to say. That today is not a good day for meeting. That is assertive. Now, you can also express the needs and feelings which we often hide. Suppose you're looking very tired. Somebody says, would you like to take some rest? You say, oh no, I'm fine. I'm not tired at all. That is not correct. You say that, yes, you are right. I am tired. Let me take some rest now. I will talk to you after some time. You want to express your needs. Somebody says that, I have borrowed your laptop. I will return it next week. But you need your laptop now. So you have to be assertive. You say, no, today I have to write a report and submit it tomorrow. So please return my laptop by evening. You are saying it clearly that either your feelings or what you think or what you need, you are expressing clearly. That is assertive. You don't shout and say, give my laptop back immediately. That is aggressive. Assertive is polite, but assertive is also clear. That is important. Now, I have already mentioned to you that passive means where you allow others to walk all over you, and assertive is somewhere in the middle. Aggressive is on the other side. Passive is where you accept everything. Aggressive is where you don't accept anything. Assertive is somewhere in the middle. That is why we call assertive communication as balanced communication. Because if you have maturity, then you will have assertive communication. You will not be passive, because passive shows lack of confidence and aggressive shows overconfidence. So we should not do either of these two. Just now I mentioned the word lack of confidence and overconfidence. Assertive communication shows that you have the right amount of confidence needed for communication. Always remember that good, proper communication requires confidence, your belief in yourself. Otherwise, you cannot succeed. It also shows that you are not saying good or bad about anybody. That we call judgmental. You meet a person and you say, this person is a fool, that person is cruel, this person is evil. We don't do that. We first find out the facts by saying, this person is a little slow in doing the work, but we can't call him lazy. Lazy is different from slow. That is the way in which you express yourself. That factual information, that information with facts and supported by data, that if you speak, then that shows that your communication is assertive. Now we also have another point, and that is when you speak about what you really believe in. You know, you have strong conviction, you have strong faith that what you are saying is right. Then the way you speak is assertive. Suppose you are very doubtful about what you're saying. You know, I might be speaking to you about a topic which I don't know, in which case I will not be able to have assertive communication. I will, hesitate. I will say, and so on. Then what happens is, that is passive. If instead of that, you try to bring in your own ideas into a subject and you try to distort that subject, then I can tell you that that is not assertive at all. It is aggressive. So we have to keep these things in mind to find out that these are the useful, qualities which will show us that our communication is becoming assertive. Of the 4 tips now is tip number 3. Now, why should you have assertive communication? What does it do? Assertive communication has very important advantages. And the very important advantages here, I would like to tell you 2 of them. As you practice, you will find many more advantages, but I will concentrate on these 2. One is that you don't think only of yourself selfishly, that only I matter, nobody else matters. You are sensitive to others. Whoever your listeners are or whoever you're conversing with, you think of them also. You don't only think of yourself. Suppose you meet somebody and that person is eager to talk to you about something. That person mentions only one point by saying that I want to tell you about an experience. This is what I experienced. Before that person can complete, you go on talking about your own experience which is similar. That is insensitive. So we should not be like that. Now, we also, to be assertive in our communication, we do not try to dominate anybody else. You keep quiet. I will tell about this. I will talk about these things. Please keep quiet. Don't say anything. That is aggressive. We don't want to be like that. You don't undermine anybody. If somebody wants to speak, give them a chance to speak. Then you say, you have spoken. Now if you've finished, I would like to add my opinions. I would like to tell you what I want to say. But giving that person a chance, especially if you're going for group discussions which are a part of your job interviews, please remember that if you are assertive, you get the job. If you're aggressive or passive, you don't get the job. A person who speaks too much in a group discussion does not get selected. A person who does not say anything does not get selected. A person who gives a chance to everybody, a person who clearly tells others that it is your turn to speak, I'm willing to listen, that is the best way to do assertive communication. All of you who want to learn assertive communication will obviously want to know how to practice. I've told you what is assertive communication. I told you about your qualities. So tip number 4, the last of the tips, is about how to practice. This is most important. First is, you must get out of being a passive communicator. You most of the time you keep silent or you answer in yes or no. Somebody asks you, how was your day? Then you say, good. One word. Can't you say, I had a busy day, or I had a very comfortable day, or I had an exciting day, and then say 3 or 4 sentences about your day? That gets you out of your passivity. So whenever you feel that you're not able to speak, many of you send comments by saying, I can speak only 1 or 2 sentences. After that, I don't get any more ideas. Now is the time to practice. Sit with yourself and practice how to get rid of this quality of being able to say only 1 or 2 sentences. About any topic which interests you, any topic which you know about, you should be able to say 25 sentences without an effort. If you can do that, then you are getting over your passive communication. The second point is, of course, that you should not also be aggressive. Curb is to control. If you are very aggressive in your communication, if you keep ordering people around, or if your tone of voice is impolite, then you must check that. You must not allow these things to come into the way of your communication. Because if you keep saying, open the door, close the door, sit on this chair, stand in the corner, then nobody likes you. They think that, you're trying to dictate terms to them. That is not a very good idea. Therefore, what you should do, what you really need to do here is that you must make yourself polite, assertive, but not aggressive. And then you, of course, if you have problems with your conversation, which I already told you, please practice again and again the same conversation. Yesterday at the bus stop, somebody asked you that, could you describe your family or your friend? You said, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Now nobody is going to wait for you, so you have to be spontaneous. And how will you be spontaneous? You will practice by saying, last week somebody asked me about my family. Yesterday somebody asked me about my job. Long back somebody asked me about my education, the experiences of school and college. When I came back from a vacation, people asked me about my vacation. When I'm moving into a new house, they asked me to describe what kind of a house I'm hiring. So all these are contexts for you to practice. So rehearse every day. If you can't do it in 1 day, do it in 2-3 days. And then, of course, when you are practicing, either record yourself or stand in front of a mirror. See how you are moving your hands and legs. If you hold yourself stiff like that, then your conversation is not interesting. Whatever you say sounds very boring. There should be facial expression. Your words should change your expression. When you're talking about something serious, a serious expression is there. When you're talking about something which is very humorous, you can give a smile. In this way, you have to practice assertive communication. Please do it and let me know how assertive your communication is becoming. I hope you have liked the video. Please subscribe if you haven't done it. Press the bell icon so that you get notifications. Like and hype the video and share it as widely as you can. Join the channel as a member to attend all the live classes I conduct and also to get other benefits. Thank you and all the best.